Welcome to A Toast to the Men with your guy S.D. Booker. Today I got a special guest. She's been on before. This is actually my first go live, and I have no other than Pheonix Rising. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, very good. I'm glad to be on here. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining me again. Every Tuesday. So yes, I told the people this is our first time going live, my first time, your first time, and so
Yes.
we'll see how this goes. So, how's your week been?
It's been great. Yeah, really
Good,
great. Finally having spring.
good, good. Yeah, I've been having a lot
Mhm.
of people ask about you. Uh, I told you the other day, a couple of people asked about you in the power circle. So that was that was something. So you definitely leaving your mark out here.
Yeah, if I can help anybody, from the experiences I've gone through, I'm willing. It's just we look around at people and we see people, experiencing some of the pain that we've gone through, and we just, want to help in any way to help them avoid it or whatever. So if I can be of any help, I would be happy to help.
No doubt, no doubt. Um, we got three topics we want to touch on, and we'll play it by ear, play it by vibe, and we'll just go from there. Now, this is something um, I've been questioning for a while. I think a lot of men question: should all women be protected? What's your take on that?
Well, expound a little bit. What do you mean by protected? Like in what way or
Right, right.
what?
Well, protected. We'll say in a sense physically. Should they be protected physically, uh, regardless of how they behave, regardless of what they've done? Should they always be protected at all costs? And even if even if this person is your spouse, is a man's spouse, his mate, should she be arbitrarily protected regardless of what she did? Should he be willing and able to jump out of that window, so to speak, at any given moment for her?
That's a really interesting thought. It just brought me back years ago, and I can't remember the instance, but as a child, I used to kind of sit back in the corner and listen to the men talk and listen to people talk when there were, gatherings, whatever. And I remember some of the older brothers talking about they were calling it an umbrella of protection. They said something about a certain umbrella of protection that we as people have around us, and they were talking about, God's protection or whatever. But I just remember them saying that there's certain things that you do that you literally step out from under that umbrella of protection. It's your choice.
Right,
Is it the
right.
same way? That just gave me that. It just brought me back to that instance.
Wow,
And
that's
I'm just curious about that because isn't there a certain limit to the umbrella? I mean, if you push yourself out from under, I mean, let's just say, for example, you're walking in the rain and you got an umbrella over your head. But if you walk out from under the umbrella, you're going to get rained on. Is it not the same? Is that not?
that is correct, and I view that the same way as the female and male relationship. As soon as the woman wants to go her way and uh, sever herself from the covenant,
Mm-hmm,
she wants to be masculine. She doesn't need my help. She proclaims she doesn't need a man.
mm-hmm.
And as soon as she initiates masculinity towards a man, she's she's removed herself from my protection. As soon as she's unsubmissive and just constantly going against me, she's removed myself from my protection. It reminds me of when God told them not to look back. Lot and Abraham. The woman looked back, Lot's wife. Now, Was he supposed to go back for her or keep it moving?
Yeah.
Because at that point she was unsubmissive.
Well, I mean, you know the story. If he would have gone back, he would have been turned into a pillar of salt as well.
Is
You
it
know that.
exactly? He would have
So
crashed
it's,
and burned.
I look at it like, when you're in a covenant with somebody, when you're in an agreement, it's literally a trust that you've built between yourselves, and you're in a mutual agreement. You can also look at it as, I don't know how much you've worked with horses, but if you have a team of horses, they've got to be equally yoked. So,
Yes.
for example, sometimes, like our Amish friends would train some of the horses and that type of thing. And an unbroken horse, they would put them together with one that was broken because that one was steady. But the unbroken horse was always trying to pull this way, then this way, and this way, and, messing everything up. And they literally had to be trained. And that's kind of how I think relationships are. If one, it
Right.
doesn't matter if it's the man or the woman, if they're, pulling this way and going outside of the agreement, it's not going to work. It's being unequally yoked together because you're pulling in two different directions. You got to figure out how you're going to, be on the same page in whatever. It's not that you can't do your what you need to do. You need to, but you need to find a way to support each other in that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right. I totally get it. It goes back, I guess, to and we don't talk about this a lot. People don't talk about this a lot, but submitting to one another,
Yeah.
being open, uh, being in the receiving mode to be who you are, your true essence,
Hmm.
to be the man, to be the woman, submitting to one another. Uh, and you can't do that. You can't do that if ego is in the way.
Right. And ego is what blocks the communication, I would say.
Right.
What I've seen, with a lot of times, there's the communication isn't there. And, you know, how are you going to pull together if you don't communicate your needs, if you don't communicate, where you need support in, and so on, in that relationship? How is it going to work?
Right. Right. Yeah. So what I see a lot in the world today is, and I mentioned this to you, a
Hmm.
lot of times I see women wanting the fruits of masculinity, and they're not satisfied with the fruits of femininity. Um, but I don't, and many men don't get the fruits of femininity. There's fruits, there's benefits, there's privilege in being a woman. Yeah, there truly is. You'll get help quicker, if you're stranded or in distress. Where, man, I may have to walk another 5 miles to the nearest gas station to get help. Nobody's gonna trust a man and then a big black man. Like,
Mm,
so
mhm.
I can overpower you.
Yeah.
That's in their mind. So there's benefits in being a woman. Um, you get to, if you're having a bad day, you get to become irate. Maybe,
Really?
oh yeah, scream at someone or whatever.
Really?
If a man does that, some other man is gonna step up and say, "Chill out." It can happen. It happens.
Hmm.
Or someone calls the police. You know, that's just
Well,
what happens.
yeah, that's not been in my experience, so I'm listening.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Well, you're kind of new to this world.
well, okay.
No, this world as we know it now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true. I mean, I believe the culture that I grew up in would have been almost directly reversed because the man had all the privileges, and was allowed to, kind of go outside whatever he wanted to do, but the woman wasn't. So it was probably, I'm from what I'm hearing, it's a flip, it's a flip side kind of here than what I was seeing.
but even in that community, who did most of the work, the hard labor?
Well, a lot of the women did actually. I mean, and there were men that were
What
criticized.
community?
There were men that were criticized for having their wives out in the dairy barn doing all the work while they were sitting inside. That was not uncommon.
See, but they were criticized.
They were criticized, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah. So we know it's not natural.
yeah,
Yeah. So
but
they even they knew it's.
It happened quite a bit. It actually
Oh yeah.
happened quite a bit.
Oh yeah. It happens. It happens. In any society where the man is not being masculine and they get criticized,
Hmm.
other men will call them out. Yeah. Yeah. They actually a lot of those guys don't even have male friends because they don't want to measure themselves. They don't want that mirror.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting. So should I? So the other day I was watching the video, and this has happened a few times over the
Hmm.
past few years since smartphones have been prevalent. I was watching this video of this woman attack this man, and she put up her fist like a dude and started hitting him, boxing him like a dude, swinging, hitting, punching like a dude. He tried to evade her, but he was getting caught in the face. So after a while, he said, "Forget this." So he retaliated and began to punch her back. Of course, she started getting the short end of that stick. Once he started punching back, some big guy comes out of nowhere and just cold clocks him, just 1-2 punch. And the guy didn't fall, but he was definitely almost off his feet. And the guy yells, "Man, that's a woman. That's a female. What are you thinking?" Now he
Oh
didn't
well.
step in when this woman initiated this confrontation and began swinging on the guy. He only got involved when the guy started swinging back. See, and this is what I don't. It doesn't confuse me, but it confuses a lot of people. This is what a lot of people, a lot of men are calling simps. This type of behavior, and this is what a lot of men are frustrated by.
Hmm.
This type of woman who's very masculine or exerting masculine energy, but then she wants the leeway of being a female. Like where do we draw the line? Or should we just cut off these type of women? And should we check these type of men who are protecting these type of women? Because that thing is out of order.
Yeah, it is. That doesn't seem fair to me. And again, I always, look at balance and fairness, and it's just not fair at all.
Yeah, yeah. And
It
and
shouldn't. I mean,
go
it
ahead.
shouldn't matter. It's the behavior. I mean, if you're doing something wrong, you're doing something wrong. It doesn't matter. If you're if you're a man or a woman, or don't claim either. It doesn't matter. If it's wrong, it's wrong.
Right.
I mean, you don't. You're supposed to be taught. We were taught not to hit each other. It didn't matter if. I mean, they didn't teach the boys not to hit, but the girls, oh, it's okay if you hit. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so where in the world is this coming from? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean you bring up a good point. That starts at an early age where girls are not harshly reprimanded for hitting boys,
Mm,
but boys are. You know, that's a huge thing since childhood. Yeah, somewhere we gotta change that.
yeah.
We need to respect each other's true essence. A boy needs to respect the female essence, and the woman
Right.
needs to respect the male essence.
Yeah.
Our strengths and our weaknesses. I think that's
Hmm.
the bottom line is respect.
It is. I agree.
Yeah, yeah. But I thought about this whole, and I won't get too deep into it. This whole Will and Jada thing, and just over the years, I've witnessed her really be disrespectful towards him,
Hmm.
just really disrespectful, and putting a lot of their private business out there and
Yeah.
emasculating them in front of the
Yeah.
world. And
Hmm.
I've never seen anything like this with a A-list actor. Maybe your C-list, but maybe the guy next door, but not your A-list actor. I've never seen this before. Uh, and he felt compelled, and I think he jumped the gun. I do believe he jumped the gun, but he felt compelled to protect this type of woman. I think he overreacted. But dang, does that type of woman even is she worthy of protection? a woman that would do that to a man.
I don't know. I think it would just be humiliating. I can't imagine her, somebody doing that to someone that's supposed to be their spouse, like literally humiliating them. What for? I don't know. Yeah. After I talked to you, I watched a few things, and I was just like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, yeah, it's been wild. But this goes on. Their situation is highlighted because of their names,
Right.
their fame. But this
Yeah.
goes on throughout the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this
And
is
that's
yeah. Uh, and what's not talked about. Not saying it should happen. If that couple was the average couple in America, there would probably be some domestic violence.
yeah.
Yeah, there would be some domestic violence, most likely, if that couple was the average couple in America. Uh, Will can't get away with that, right?
Yeah.
No way he gets away with that. He's too.
Mm-hmm.
His name is too big, and he has too much to lose. But nobody ever. And I'm not saying there's a reason to attack a woman, but everybody has a pressure point.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has that point they snap, and I don't think that's talked about enough in the world. The women like Jada who are pushing those buttons. We just look at she was abused, but we never ask the question what led up to this and how can we avoid this. We just look
Yeah.
at the man, and we're never going to get a resolution or a healing if we just look at the effect and not
One
the
aspect.
cause.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we're not saying women should be abused, but to say women can't or don't have the ability to provoke and push buttons is just naive.
Yeah. That's not.
Yeah, it's just naive, and it's
Yeah.
just not. It's not reality.
And it's just like both parties have to take responsibility. You can't put responsibility on one side or the other. It's equal. I mean,
Right.
everybody has their equal responsibilities. So, I don't know. Again, it's just to me, it's about fairness. And it's just like, how can anybody look at that and think it's fair? It's not fair at all.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Now the flip side to that is, should men be protected?
Be protected from the evil woman. I mean,
Well,
I
we
mean,
we could. Hey, that's one aspect. That's one perspective. But I want to dive into that. But then I have another perspective too.
okay.
Uh, yeah, I don't think men are protected from uh, the scorn or the vengeance of a woman. I don't think we're protected enough, and a lot of men do not speak out. They don't report anything to the police, to the authorities, because it looks unmasculine or non-masculine. They're ashamed. But I've known a lot of situations where men were physically abused.
you know, you know, and not even that, but the psychological abuse I've seen is horrible, especially when it starts involving their children. I mean, I've dealt with people, in in the line of work I do, that these men, I mean, the woman gets a restraining order for absolutely no reason, just to get back at him so he can't see his own children. And
Oh
to
yeah,
me, that is psychological abuse, emotional abuse. I mean, that's horrible. I have a hard time dealing with that when I see that, because it's so unbalanced and so unfair and so wrong.
yeah, yeah. I've been through that.
It
The
doesn't
whole
matter
yeah,
what disagreements they have; those are his children just as much as they're hers. They're equal. It's
yeah,
I just don't I don't think that a woman has a right to ever do that. I mean, yes, if a father's, violently abusive and stuff like that and can't get help, there's situations probably like that, but just to randomly, try to keep him from seeing his children,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It
I've
doesn't
been through
matter
that.
that you don't agree. They're still his children. They are still his
Yeah.
children.
Unfortunately, uh, a lot of women don't think that way, and the courts empower them. They support them in not thinking that way.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I've been through the whole thing, restraining order, um, all that, and so I've been through that, and that's why I asked: Do men need protection? Do they need protection?
They do. They do. And I think that and there's ways that they can legally have protection before this kind of stuff happen. And I just wish they knew how to do that, because there are ways that they can have that protection, but it has to be, and there's some people that talk about, oh, when you get married, they think that some of those agreements they have are horrible. No, they're not. Because look at what today is. You need to have an agreement.
Right,
because
right,
because for example, if you don't have a written agreement with your wife, and then all of a sudden she decides to go way off here and do this, or he decides to go way off here and do this. I've seen both ends of it, both sides of it. I've seen where a man will have some clout, or have a attorney that's his friend, and he'll take everything away from the mother, and the mother can't even see him. I've seen that many
right.
times as well. Neither way is fair. That neither way is right. Those children need their parents. You know, I believe they need their parents. But
Yeah, I believe so too. But I think what it is, well, one of the problems is, uh, just like the story I told you, where the man comes out of nowhere and punches the man
hmm
who is retaliating against the woman who initiated physical contact.
right, right, yeah,
We have some judges, we have some attorneys, we have some legislators who are just like that guy, that simp who comes out of nowhere. Until it happens to them, and then they understand how
right,
it can go there.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now, on the other side of protecting men, one thing I noticed in a relationship, we have to protect. Of course, we're responsible for protecting ourselves, but we got to protect our mate from themselves sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you know what I noticed in that whole situation at the Oscars? Will is a A-list guy, uh, beloved, and not once did this woman try to stop him from going up there or yell to him or anything. She laughed and smiled as this man was about to destroy the world as he knew it. Um,
Hmm.
and even right now, she's still not protecting him. She's justifying and kind of gloating in it as he's losing stuff. And I was like, wow, man, we got to really protect each other. And a woman has to protect the man sometimes from himself.
Oh, I agree. I agree totally.
Yeah. Because a
Mm-hmm.
man, a man can snap. Um, and it's different. It's different when a man, typically, it's different when a man snaps in public and a woman snaps in public. A
So
lot of
let me
times,
ask you. So let me ask you this: does a
mhm,
man get to the point of snapping if he has a safe haven at home where he can go and let all that out and relax and actually feel safe at home? Does he actually get to the point of snapping in
that,
public? I doubt
that,
it.
that's a damn good question. And I doubt it. I doubt it.
And I think as a woman, that would be that would be what we need to see too, is that there's a safe space. He has a
Yeah.
safe space to, so that doesn't build up, because otherwise that's going to build up. I know. I mean, I grew up around brothers and have my own sons, and they need space.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
man needs space to be
Yeah.
able to release all the pressures that were on him throughout the day and throughout the week and throughout the month. They have to have that.
Gotta have it. It's imperative.
Man,
Even
I've seen it. And my
yeah,
boys, if they weren't getting that, they would snap on each other and start getting into fights. It's like, no,
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Young boys need it too.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
especially if they're in a house where a lot of estrogen is around them. And the woman subconsciously, not knowing what she's really doing, is trying to smother that masculinity.
Yeah.
because he's different from the girls, and
Yeah.
he gets into stuff. He's jumping off of this. He's breaking this,
Mhm.
and she's frustrated because she can't
Mhm.
understand it,
Yeah.
and so he's on punishment, or something is taken away from him when
Mhm.
he's just being a boy. Uh, yeah, and sometimes they'll explode, they'll snap.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. So I definitely can relate to that. Will needed a safe space. A lot of men out here need a safe space, and it should be that woman, the bosom of a woman. It should be that woman creating that safe space.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
But
do
if
you
it's
think?
not, then there's places like what you guys are doing with the power circle. I think that can be a space where men can unwind when they don't have any other place.
It is a good space.
Just seeing that.
Yeah, it is a good space. Those out there, hey, join the power circle. Link in the bio. But that's a good space to bounce things off of men. But it's still not a woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's still not a
I know,
woman.
I know. And we need each other. That's just the truth of it. We need each other. It doesn't matter, you know, the world is hard. The world is cold, and it's like you're going to continually be facing things that you don't know uh you don't quite know how to deal with, or you have to retreat into a space where you can learn to sort it out. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
Yeah.
So how do we broadcast that to the world, to women, to creating that safe space for men? Do women even know or care? Because the family is so broken down, they're not even being trained in that way. They're not even seeing it growing up. So are we doomed?
Well, there's still I meet, different women that understand that. So they're still there. Um it's more, and I think it's more in rural areas that you're going to find that more. Um from my experience anyway, that in the rural areas it's a little different. The maybe they're the grandma and the mom, and they're out working in the fields and stuff like that in some of the farming areas. So it's a little different. It's just a little different energy and stuff. I think that it's still there.
Right, right.
um
Yeah, but in those areas, I know
mhm.
exactly the areas you're talking about. In those areas, though, more than likely, the family structure is still intact.
Exactly. Hmm.
Yeah,
For the most part, I mean, there's
right,
everywhere you go there's going to be divorce and stuff like that, but
right,
for it's more so than it is, just in cities where there's way too many people in a close proximity. And I still think that, that even that alone is a big cause of it, because literally when people are so close and their energies are overlapping, you're picking up energetically the people that live next door to you all day long. You can't get away from it. Whereas if
right.
you're actually out in a space, and think about it, pay attention. If you've ever gone out camping and you're way out away from, how different you feel
Yeah, totally different.
energetically. So
Yeah,
so when you think about this need for humans to be able to have a space where they can withdraw to, if you're in a city and you've got somebody above you and beside you and all over, your energy auras, which go out a huge distance from your body, are literally intertwining with the person next door and above you. People don't realize that. So there's really no real space, if you want to
right.
say that. There's no real space because of that overlapping of energies continually 24/7.
Yeah, yeah. That is true. That is true. Yeah, we got to get back to the source, though. I think that's the only
We do.
way.
Yeah,
That's the
we
only
do.
way we're gonna resolve these issues. Get back to the basics, the foundation.
Hmm.
Yeah. Another thing is, I see a lot of confusion or disconnect between men and women when it comes to what's important to each of us. You and I
Hmm.
had a little talk earlier about your your thought about how men should react, and I had to let you know, no, this is how we respond to this. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to get into that or not. I'll leave that up to you. But and I had this topic before you shared that with me, but I noticed a lot of disconnect and we just don't understand that what you want as a woman is not what I want as a man, and the way
Yeah.
you process things is not the way I
Yeah,
process things.
definitely.
And so we gotta have a translator.
Communication. Again, it's
Yeah,
communication. It's just like if
yeah,
we never say this, well, this is how, this is how I see it, or this is, and we don't say it, nobody knows. So
yeah. We just assume.
definitely, I mean,
Yeah,
right, exactly.
yeah. We'll assume, and you know what they say about people who assume. So it makes an ass out of you and me. So yeah,
Okay. I never heard that one.
you've never heard that one.
No.
So so from your perspective, your thoughts, how does a woman show her commitment in a relationship, and how does a man show his commitment in a relationship? I'll give my take after you give your take.
Okay, so I'll give my take on how a woman would, or how I would, right?
Hmm.
And then you'll, okay. So to me, how I would show commitment is literally, um, giving everything I would, basically making a safe space, you know, being committed to, uh, oh, all right, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Are you able to hear me? I think my internet is maybe.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Mhm.
I'm not sure what's happening. Probably my signal is not very good. It looks good, but
Yeah, you're coming across good.
okay. All right. So yeah, basically, let's see if I can even put it into words. But just how I grew up and whatever, watching my own mother and stuff. It's basically creating a safe space. Basically creating a comfort, a place where he has comfort, so he can actually go out and take on what he's doing in the world. I mean, you know, watching my mother, and she does that. She's the same to this day. She always, she created a safe home space. She, she sewed our clothes. She sewed, her and I both sewed all of our clothes, basically. Not the boys, all of them, but for, us. And, she would always, always have everything, she would cook a lot. She would raise her own food. We had 3 huge gardens that we would raise our stuff, canned stuff. But then she was always out in the field helping my dad bale hay. She was out in the dairy barn helping him milk the cows. All of us were, our whole family. We would all be out there working together. Um, and when I look back on it, it was really, giving him the support and comfort that he needed. And I know my dad appreciated it. I could tell he appreciated it. My mom was very precious to him, and to this day, if she's not around, he just wants her to be around all the time, because he just, you know she's his best support, his I don't know.
Right. She's his helpmate.
She is his helpmate. Yeah, for real.
Yeah, his companion.
Yeah, and anything he needs, he's gonna discuss it with her right the first thing, because he knows, that she'll have, some, wisdom or some ideas or whatever for him as well. And so I don't know. I don't know
Yeah.
if that really answered the question, but to me, that's what commitment is actually being committed to give them the support, the comfort, the space, the safe or secure or comforting space that they need. To me, that's what it is.
Right. Right. To be his peace.
Exactly. That's very well said. Very
Yeah.
well.
And that's what men want. We want peace.
Yeah.
We got a lot. We got enough to deal with.
Hmm.
Um,
Without
and
going
so
home and dealing with it. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, we got
I
enough to
agree.
deal with. And so what we really look for is peace.
Hmm.
Um, And that peace can come in different forms. Your mom giving peace was quite a few forms, helping them out. You know,
Yeah.
just knowing, let him know you're not alone,
Yeah.
and we're gonna play our part. I'm gonna play my part in helping you do what you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that was his piece. Maybe having a hot meal ready. You know, that
Yeah.
was his piece. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so, the other day, Yaya and I were out, and we was on this. I guess you would call it a patio, eating. And I asked her, I said, are you secure right now? Are you at peace? You got any worries? And because it was leading up to something, so she's like, no, I'm good. I'm at peace. I said, do you know, as a man, I can never fully let my guard down. I say, even right now, we're in a good neighborhood. We're out and about. I said, I have to always be prepared for some dude or something to go wrong, somebody to act a fool, and I got to be in protection mode.
Mm-hmm.
I said,
Mm-hmm.
always. Even if it looks like I'm enjoying myself and I'm relaxed, I am enjoying myself. I am
Mm-hmm.
relaxed to an extent, but
Yeah.
I cannot relax like the woman relaxes, right? I just can't. I can't just let it all down and relax because I got to be prepared to flip on that other switch and maybe go into beast mode at any given time. Yeah, and
Mm.
this is most men. I would say most men think this way.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's got to be stressful. I mean,
I don't
goodness.
think I don't know if it's stressful. I'm sure we're taking a hit on the back end, things we don't see.
Yeah.
But I just think that's the way of the man, though. It's always been like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, from creation, I think it's
Yeah.
been like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, us living out amongst the beast, amongst the wild.
Mm-hmm.
Just, you got to be ready. You got to be ready to protect the family at any given time. One minute
That's true.
you're letting the kids climb on you, and the next minute, you're pinning down a saber-toothed tiger.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's just the way. Um,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. So I don't think women really realize that, though. But the way men show their commitment, I think most men is with their money, and then with their time. I think those are the two ways we show our commitment.
Hmm.
Um, Wherever a man spends his money is where his heart lies. Uh, uh,
Hmm.
Even if he's married, if he's spending his money on other chicks, that's where his heart lies.
Wow.
If he's spending the majority of his money on shoes or whatever, the majority of it, that's where his
Mm-hmm.
heart lies. But if he's bringing the majority of his money home, that's where his heart lies. Um, we're different. I think we're different in that aspect, men and women, when it comes to money. A woman likes to feel like her money is her money, and his money is her money too. So I think we're different a lot of
Well,
times.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know, but I mean, but then my dad told me I couldn't keep any because I always gave it away. But so
Yeah,
I think everybody's a little different, and it's probably it may vary by personality and things like that,
right.
but man, that's kind of surprising to me because I sure would have never thought that. But again, that's to me that's not like super important. I hear women all the time saying, "Oh, he should pay for this and he should pay for that," and I don't think that way at all. I don't. I never have, but
Yeah,
again, I think it's maybe personality difference with personality. Maybe I don't know.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
It could be, but we like to show our protection and actually, maybe exert our ego too through the money. That's a sign of protection,
Hmm.
a sign of masculinity for us. And then if we can give the time also, that shows where our heart lies, our commitment lies too. Sometimes it can be challenging for a man to provide the way he wants to provide with the money. It does take money to provide a living, but then also give
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah. Time is money. I say that all the time.
Right.
Time is
Time is
money.
money. Yeah, the perfect situation for me, for all men, I think, would be if he's with someone um, who can help him in business.
Hmm.
Can Right. She finds her purpose that's
Hmm.
somewhat connected or within his purpose. And
That, yeah, that would be just plain fun. That would be a lot of
right,
fun. I mean, really, it would
right.
be.
Yeah, that would
Man.
that would be ideal. That would be ideal because
Yeah.
you're growing together, you're making a living together. This time is together,
Hmm.
and so
You're right. You're right.
yeah,
That, yeah. That, I think it would be just. Oh man, that would be fun.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And actually, I'm thinking right now. I bet that was a beautiful thing when couples or families were able to live off the land and the wife is helping out. Now I know in the movies it looks rough, right? I'm sure it is rough and challenging. And the woman's hair is everywhere, and she's helping out. And she's sweating, and she has on this, this dress, kind of torn. This is how they portray it in the movies, right? But think about they're creating for themselves, and they're equally yoked. They're dependent on one another, and their time is invested in one another. I think it's a good thing.
That's how I grew up. I know exactly what you're talking about. I mean, we all did everything as a family. My job was to make tea and carry it way, way, way to the back fields and make sure everybody had tea the whole time. My mom and dad and brothers were working, and but when we got done, and then they'd bring in the loads, and I would unload the bales up on the electric elevators and all that. But when we got done, that was when the party began. We had so much fun. We'd go on a picnic, we'd celebrate, because we all did it together, and it took everyone. So
Yeah,
it builds self-esteem in children to be part of it as well. And I think even today we can do that. It doesn't have to be, we don't have to be out in a rural area. We can have our own businesses to where that we get the children involved, and they're building self-esteem and building knowledge, and I think that's ideal.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's
I,
beautiful.
I think that's the way it was meant to be.
I
Uh,
agree.
I really do. But somewhere we got disconnected. But I think, yeah, the manufacturing and maybe corporate America has something to do with it. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, we definitely got disconnected somewhere as a
Hmm.
family. Yeah, we got the chat. Tim Howard says all men need protection. All men need protection. You know what? I'm gonna tell you something I feel weird about. And Yaya knows this, and maybe I'm at fault. If a man committed a crime against me, or did something to my wife, I don't know if I would call the police. I think I would take care of myself.
Hmm. Well,
You
there's
know,
nothing wrong with that. I mean, I don't know if there's anything wrong with that or weird about it. If you can take care of it
yeah,
yourself, I think you should be. I don't think, I mean, people, we're supposed to be a self-governing people. Where did that go? We're
now you're
supposed to
talking
be
my language.
self-governing. We're not supposed to be. I mean, the thing is you should be, as adults, you should be able to self-govern and take care of things yourself. If you don't, then here you are being like a tattletale child. Oh, he did this and she did this, and
Right, right.
I
See.
don't
I have a
agree with that.
Yeah. See, I have a problem as a grown man. Me going to another grown man
Exactly.
to deal with a grown
Tattling.
man.
Yeah, tattling. Right.
Right. Like, why can't I just handle this myself?
Right.
And we have a duel.
Hmm.
Like, we take
There
it
you
back.
go. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. We have a duel in the middle of the street. Like, and whoever dies dies. If it has, depending on the
We're,
offense.
yeah,
Right.
And we're supposed to be self-governing. Where did we lose that? We lost our dignity when we gave up our self-governing. We don't have the dignity anymore to, do that, to actually be, we're equals. We need to balance things between ourselves.
Right.
Even when it gets into these divorce courts and stuff, I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I don't think anything should go to a divorce court. I think it should all be settled. If you're an adult, you should settle it between the two of you. Okay, so no, we can't agree. Okay, that's fine. We already know that. So let's do this peacefully. Let's put our terms side by side. This is what we want, blah blah blah, and sign it. Why would we
Right.
go why would we go before somebody else and tattle to them? Oh, we can't get along. Okay, fine.
Yeah, they
let's
treat
just
it. Yeah,
let's
I
just
mean, we're
admit it.
yeah, we're taking the role of a child.
We
Uh,
are. We are. Exactly. And
yeah,
just admit that we made a mistake. We're not compatible. Just admit it
right, and
and
move on.
move on peacefully and make sure
Yeah,
that it's not going to, injure or harm the children. Do it peacefully.
yeah. I've heard stories, of back in the day where people separated and they agreed that the father would keep the boys and the mother would keep the girls. I've heard of those situations,
Hmm.
but like we can't even do that nowadays. Everybody wants to run to the court. You know, yeah, we can't even do that.
Yeah, I think it's
So
ridiculous because you're not going to get any fairness there whatsoever. We already know that.
no, not at
There's
all.
there's no justice. That you have to call them, Department of Injustice, not justice.
Right, right. Now, in regards to the woman knowing the man, Yaya says she needs to study and respect his love language. The woman needs to study and respect his love language. Now, you and I talked about this. Was it last week? Was it last week? The love languages, or was it before that?
I think
Was it
I'm
maybe two or
not
three
sure.
weeks ago? Yeah,
Yeah.
but we definitely covered the love languages.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, the thing with that is she brings up a good point because a lot of men don't communicate. A woman now will tell you her love language. She'll
Mhm.
just tell you straight up what she loves, right? What's
Yeah.
important to her. And men don't voice that a lot. So it does take a woman studying a man to see where do I fit in? How can I help him? What puts a smile on his face? What brings him pleasure? His love
Right.
language. Because we won't
Yeah.
we won't say that. And most men won't say love language. Like I think a woman created that maybe. So
Well, and I think sometimes, guys are so busy with keeping everything going and this and that, they might not even know. If
right.
you put them on point, I don't know if they're going to even really, because it's not something that they, focus on or whatever. They're just working, trying to get through life and trying to, get done what needs to be done. So again, yeah. Um,
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. So wow, this is our first live. Man, this is our first live. We're gonna go longer in the future. We're at about 48 minutes right now. I think that's good for a first live. So yeah, I think we need to give ourselves a round of applause. Man.
yeah,
Yeah,
this has been good.
yeah, it's been good, and we'll definitely stretch it out to an hour and a half or 2 hours in the future.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, this was good though. This was good. Anything you want to leave the folks with?
Man, I enjoyed the topics you brought. I'm looking forward to discussing more because I think there's just a lot of ground that we can cover. Like you said, how have we gotten to where we've gotten now? Why are we here? And, getting back down to ground level and how can we make course corrections so that this, doesn't keep getting worse generation to generation. I think that's, kind of the key.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Well, people, be sure to follow Phoenix Rising on Instagram. You see her handle right there. That is spelled correctly. Yes, Pheonix 4RIZING. Follow her on Instagram. She has great content. Follow her. You'll see her every Tuesday, uh, if God willing. And follow me on Instagram, S.D. _Booker. Yeah, come visit with us every Tuesday. and we'll keep giving you this great content. As always, love, peace.